Good evening. Welcome. Good to see you here. Anybody here for the first time tonight? Yeah. That would be Bruce, I bet. Okay. And your friend. Back in the late 70s, I met someone who became a dear friend who was a member of the Ananda Marga yoga sect in Albany, in the Albany area. And she was the one who first introduced me to the idea of kirtan. I was a very active Catholic at the time. And as well as to vegetarianism and yoga and meditation. And I remembered she would every now and then be hosting these dadas and didis that would come through town. The male and female monks in the Ananda Marga sect would stay over and maybe do a meditation workshop or something. And then maybe 8 or so years ago, I was attending Unity Villages. Unity is centered in the Kansas City area. Unity Villages there, and they would have these yearly music conferences, so I went to a few of those. And there was this man in an orange turban who would lead morning meditations and teach meditation as well during the week, and that was Dada Nabhaniilananda. And I loved attending those sessions in the morning especially. Loved his spirit and his gentle manner and his amusing manner sometimes, as well as his music. And we use a couple of his chants here on Sundays. So I was really delighted to discover a few weeks ago that he was going to be in town and doing a program that he did yesterday for Heart Space Yoga, who are good friends of ours. So we made arrangements to have him come here. I'm glad that you came out to be part of this evening with Dada. So I'll welcome you, Anna. Welcome, Dada.
Prezzies, you get the prezzies. That prezzies get priority. Thank you all for coming, and it was really nice to get back in touch with Roger after. Yeah, I think it was about 7 years. Yeah, I'm not sure. Right. Yeah. During that period, I was doing a lot of guest ministering for Unity churches and for your competition. Not really, but you know. And it was really nice. And so it's kind of neat to be back doing this. I'm doing mostly other stuff at the moment. I'm working on making a movie, a documentary series about meditation, which is taking up a lot of my attention. So I thought we might start with something that's you're familiar with, because I just discovered that there are 2 of the tunes that I know very well, one of which I kind of half wrote. You sing. So we're going to do that. And there's a few things I have in mind. Some music, some meditation, some kind of stories and stuff. Right? Yeah, there we go. Now, how many of you are familiar with the mantra Bhavanam Kevalam? Oh, lots of you. Okay, but not quite all. So I know you are, because you were with us last night. Hey, welcome. So a mantra is a phrase that we use a lot in meditation, or there are different mantras that are used in meditation, but mantras are used mostly in meditation or in chanting, and there are some that are universal mantras that they're public and everybody can sing them out loud, and then there are secret mantras that are sometimes reserved for particular meditation practices. So this is one of the universal mantras. It's a new mantra. It was taught by my guru. His name was Sri Anandamurti, and he came up with this mantra back in 1970 something. Do you remember what year it was? 71 or something like that. So most of the mantras that you'll hear, or you might have practiced in yoga centers or from the internet or whatever. Most of them are very old, but this is a new one. So it has 3 words: Baba, Nam, Kevala. So let's just make sure you got those right, because we're going to be singing it for a little while, and we'll be using it in at least 2 meditation exercises this evening. So the first word, I'll get you to repeat it after me. So the first word is Baba, Nam, Kevalam. Great. Let's put it all together in one phrase. So it's Baba, Nam, Kevalam. Baba, Nam, Kevalam. Perfect. So this, the meaning behind this is, well, I'll break it down. So Baba means beloved. That's the literal translation, and it's, in this context, it's referring to the divine. So it's the beloved divine. So it's a very personal, a sort of personalized version of that, if you like. You know, we can have a range of relationships with the divine, and that's what one of the things I'll be talking about a bit more this evening. And Nam means name, or the sound vibration representing that idea, and Kevalam means only. So it's really saying that everything is a manifestation or is arising out of this as a vibration within the divine consciousness. Everything is one, everything is arising out of oneness. Sometimes people translate it saying that all is love, which is kind of comes to the same thing. So that's the idea behind it. So let's try this tune, which I think you might know. Who recognizes it? I'll sing it and see if I want to know who knows this tune. Okay, some of you know it. Tell me who's heard this before or sung it before. Okay, some of you, all right. So can you take the guitar down a little bit? Thanks. So let's take it down a semitone. So it's got 2 bits. I'm actually going to teach the tune because it kind of makes it easy. It's got 2 bits and each one of them repeats twice. Repeats once, actually. Technically, yeah. So the first bit goes semitone down. So it's ba ba na ke ba ba na ke. Actually, this is an exceptional one. Most of these tunes have 1 repetition. I just remembered this is one of the few that has 2 repetitions. So we sing it 3 times, the first bit, and the second bit is 3 times. And it's not quite the same each time. So just listen closely. It goes ba ba nam ke ba ba nam ke ba ba nam ke ba. So that's the first part. Let's try that together. Ready? 2, 3, 4. Ba ba nam ke ba ba nam ke ba ba nam ke ba ba. You're good. Okay, we're ready for the second bit already. So then the next bit goes. This is the chord I got wrong the first time I played it. I played this for a while. Baba nam kevalam baba, baba nam kevalam baba, baba nam kevalam baba. You want to try that? Baba nam kevalam baba, baba nam kevalam baba, baba nam kevalam. It wants to go back to the beginning in ba ba nam kevalam, ba ba nam kevalam, ba ba nam kevalam, ba ba. Okay, you're getting it. So what we're going to do is just do a little short meditation just to start with, just to get in the mood. Wire. I'm just disciplining it. It's okay. I can handle one little wire. There we go. So we're going to sing it, and I want you to sing it with your eyes closed, because that helps you just to focus your attention inward and feel like we're connecting to this, the divine within us, which is part of us. It's not separate from us, but sometimes we feel like we have a relationship with this inner self. And just singing a kind of a love song, saying you are everything. You're all there is. Behind all these events of my life and the experiences I have, you're always there. And you're everything that appears to me is arising out of an intention of love. That everything that I experience is designed to help me become a perfect vehicle for your love and to ultimately become one with you. So that's the feeling behind this. So just keep your eyes closed and sit straight. And by the way, make sure your phone's turned off while I remember that. This is 21st century meditation, all right? With all its special features. Okay, just keep your eyes closed, and we'll sing just for probably 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll do a short meditation, and then I'll talk to you about how we can take this to a deeper level. Keep your eyes closed. let the mantra Bhavanam Kevalam with the music continue in your mind as though you're listening to it, as though your inner self were singing to you and you're just listening. And if your attention wanders at some point and you find yourself distracted, don't worry, that's quite natural. But as soon as you notice that, just bring your attention back to the mantra and keep your focus there as much as you can. Now begin to feel that this inner voice that is singing to you is trying to tell you something. It's reminding you of something very important. It's reminding you that there's a place within you at the center of your being, at the place where awareness arises. And it's a place of perfect love and peace and harmony. And when you're in that place, you feel that your awareness has no boundary and that you are somehow connected to everything. This point within us is where we touch the infinite. And this music and the mantra is drawing you inward to help you to remember that that is you. That's your original self, the unchanging self. So let's just meditate on this in silence for a few minutes. Namaskar. Okay, we're going to have a little more music in a minute. Namaskar is something I want to talk to you about. Who's familiar with this? It's called a mudra. It goes Namaskar like this. I know some of you are. Probably much more familiar to you is Namaste, which is similar. There's some subtle nuance of difference, but Namaskar means I salute the divinity within you with all of the divine charms of my mind, and you touch this chakra, and all the loving cordiality of my heart. So it's a very compact language, all of that in one little word, right? Sometimes it has unexpected benefits. Somebody I know once caught a flight in India, and he got on a plane and he did Namaskar to the stewardess, and she was so impressed they upgraded him to first class. It's true. This is not guaranteed, but it's just unexpected outcomes. So I wrote a whole song about this. Actually, I realized after using this as a greeting, and sort of you can say hello with Namaskar, you can say goodbye, you can say hello God, I'm coming to meditate, you know, I hope you cooperate, you know, and then at the end you can say, okay, well I tried at least, and then I'm going to go and continue leading my life. So you can use it in lots of different ways, and I've been doing this for many, many years. I've been using this mudra. It's called a mudra. It's part of the yoga, what do you call it, pantheon of practices. I'd been using it for more than 40 years before I realized that there's a whole philosophy tied up inside this little mudra. And I might tell you about that later if we have time. Okay. I wrote a song about it. That's really it's my excuse to sing a song in a sense, but there's a story behind it. But what I want to tell you about first is what was actually advertised. So I better talk about this. Is the secret of meditation. Of course, I don't know if I can really tell you because it's supposed to be a secret, right? But you know, it's one of these secrets. It's so strange. You can tell the secret, and I've read about it many times, the same secret, and it seems to be one of those things that you forget again. So it becomes a secret again. And then you have to be reminded. So you have to, it somehow magically remains a secret. It's very strange. But it's you'll understand why when I explain a bit more. So it's to do with meditation. Okay. There are lots of different practices that are taught under the umbrella title of meditation. And there's a great variety. How many of you, let's start with the broad version. How many of you have meditated at least, outside of this room, at least once in your life? Okay. I think we have everybody. So, am I right? Has anybody never meditated before? Okay. I'm not saying, that you went into a divine trance, but, at least tried. Okay. So that's at least once in a lifetime. How many of you meditated this week? And again, you're not counting this evening. It's not allowed. How many of you meditated this week? Most of you. Okay. Not everybody. How many of you meditated this morning? Hey, good. This is a happening crowd. Okay, great. So this is good. So this is useful. This is going to be useful to you, I think. How many of you meditate every day? Like not just this morning, but yesterday and the morning and the day before, Quite a few of you. Some of you are kind of maybe, I'm not sure. Am I going to lie? Should I got to impress the monk, I don't want to look... So if meditation is something you're doing every day, which many of you are, and I'm sure, I hope the rest of you are suddenly inspired to and will continue to do it every day for the rest of your life. If you're going to do this every day, it's probably a good idea to try and make it more effective, right? So this secret of meditation has helped me tremendously. And I remember I taught it to somebody in Brazil last January. It was part of a workshop. I was running a 7-day silent retreat. We call it a sadhana camp. And it's kind of spiritual boot camp, the kind of thing. They're meditating like 6 hours, up at 4:30, chanting, and 5 hours a day, meditating 6 hours a day, doing yoga, and no one's allowed to speak except me. And they're allowed to ask questions during class time, that's about it. So it was really intense, and it has a powerful effect. And one of the young men who was there, he's not so young anymore, he's younger than me though, and he said to me at the end, I've known him for many years, he said, you know, I've been meditating for 20 years, but this secret of meditation thing has completely changed my practice. And it's such a simple thing. It was only then that I realized, wow, this is, I should talk about this more because it's helped him so much, and he really felt a very big difference. So it kind of goes like this. I said there's lots of different kinds of meditation. So I call what we practice broadly spiritual meditation, because there are lots of meditation practices that are just about managing stress, you know, where they just focus on the breath, or it's just you can say it's meditation, but it doesn't have a deliberate spiritual, what I call a spiritual goal. It still has an effect. It still has a lot of benefits, but I think that the benefit is greater if you are consciously using meditation as a way of developing your spiritual qualities or your relationship with the divine, or developing your ability to love everybody or something like that. So for me that's a spiritual meditation where the goal is something to do with the divine, with infinite consciousness, and realizing that, and realizing our innate divinity. And so that of course also includes quite a range of meditation practices. But if we think about what are we actually trying to do? So in meditation, I'm sitting here, I'm supposed to think about, you know, everything's one. Well, there's the first problem. If you look around, like there's at least two. You know, there's a lot. So at the same time, I'm trying to convince myself or remind myself of this idea that somehow everything's one. So there's a paradox there. The other problem is that you're sitting there and you're trying to think about God or infinite consciousness or Brahma or the divine, and one of the things that most people seem to agree on is that if there is such a thing as God or the divine, it is without limits. Okay, it's infinite. We can't actually imagine the infinite because our minds, though we can have a really big idea of something that feels kind of maybe sort of infinite, but it's not. It's our attempt to grasp something that's actually beyond the mind. So what we're trying to do in meditation is grasp an idea or tune into something that's beyond our ability to bring within our minds. So it's kind of tough. It's basically impossible to meditate, is what I'm trying to tell you. You can't actually imagine the infinite. Your mind, it doesn't work like that. It's not big enough. So there are a number of ways to approach this. One approach is to sort of say, well, okay, what we're really trying to do is transcend our normal state of consciousness, state of mind, I can say, into another level where we can actually experience the infinite. But it's another dimension, if you like, another internal dimension. And that you might call samadhi, a state of samadhi or spiritual trance. Okay, but how do you get there? So one way of doing this, which is what I find very helpful, is kind of like this. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, I'm trying to imagine God, and it's kind of hard, but it feels good, and it's big, that much, and God's supposed to be good, and God likes me, you know, I hope. Well, He loves me. That's even more important, because then that's not judgmental, right? So then, with all my flaws, you know, I get to be loved unconditionally. So that's all great. But still, I can't imagine that. So what you can do is reverse your perspective and feel, rather than me sitting here trying to imagine the creator of the universe, that supreme entity is thinking of me. And I'm the object. And he's the subject, which is actually kind of what's going on. Get it? So in your meditation, remember this. You're sitting there and you're feeling, okay, I'm being thought of by this divine, all-loving entity that is beyond my mind. It's beyond my capacity to imagine or grasp. But I am the object of the undivided love and total attention of the creator of the universe. How does that feel? And it's completely real. It's actually more real than all the other junk you think most of the day. Okay, this is the real thing. If you take that perspective in your meditation, suddenly it changes. Or it can, if you really get it, it kind of shifts into this feeling of that everything's okay. And that I am loved with a love more than I can possibly imagine. And even if I don't want to be, it's like that. And there's a lovely quote I remember from my guru, who used to say that human beings, the reason we don't feel the constant rain of bliss and love coming from the divine is because we are holding this umbrella-shaped ego over our heads. And we insist on keeping it open. And all we need to do is close it. And we'll have this rain of love falling down on us constantly. And if you cultivate this feeling of letting that ego go away, letting it dissolve, and rather feeling that I'm this little tiny child of something more magnificent than anybody can imagine. And I'm satisfied with that. I don't need more than that. If you can really take that feeling, it takes away the egotism, because we're really, no matter how important you are in the world, you're super unimportant from the perspective of the creator of the universe. Okay? Or maybe you're completely important, but you're no more important than anybody else. And everybody has this special relationship with our creator. We are all children of the divine. So it's about relationship. And that's what makes meditation come alive. When you feel, I got the best dad in the universe, something like that. Whatever you relate to, Some people, there's really neat different songs and scriptures in the yoga tradition. There's a tradition called bhakti. You familiar with bhakti? Bhakti yoga means the yoga of devotion or love. So it's about cultivating this feeling of attraction towards God, towards the divine. And there are different kinds of relationship we can have with God. We can have this kind of child father or child mother, or friend, like your best friend, that you can totally trust. Or you can even feel like God is your child. Because all these things they bring the human emotions into play, these very beautiful human emotions, and they propel us forwards in our spiritual journey. Or it can be the lover, They're like Radha Krishna is the famous one of, the lover between the divine and the human. And all of these are valid. But in meditation, if we can feel that relationship, then it becomes very personal. We wake up this feeling of bhakti and love, and that's what attracts us towards the divine. And then meditation becomes, it feels less like homework and more like a love story. Okay. Now we're going to try this little exercise, and then I'm going to sing you a song which is written from that perspective. So, again, I want you to sit up straight, like in school, the teacher tells you to sit up straight. So I get to do this all the time because I'm a meditation teacher, so I'm allowed to tell people to sit up straight. But of course that's good for concentration. And just close your eyes, and you can cup your hands in your lap. You can have the thumbs locked, fingers together, or one palm in the other, your thumbs together. And just let's revisit that for a moment. Just feel that you're here, and you have this feeling of existence, this I feeling. You know that you exist, and there's all these other things you might imagine yourself to be, but most of them change. But one thing you do know is that you are created by something beyond yourself, by this infinite intelligence, or the supreme intelligence, as Einstein used to say. That you're intentionally created, and you are the object of the total attention of this infinite being And it's like there's this rain of love falling down on you. Just feel that. And try and open your heart to that. And accept it. Just by virtue of existing, you have the right to be totally loved by your Creator. You know, a parent doesn't decide whether or not they're going to love their child. It's automatic. They can't help it. So you are the child of the Supreme, and there's no question that you're the object of His total love. Just feel that you're being thought of by this entity that is beyond your imagination, but you know it's there, and by trying to think of that, your mind expands and stretches out and reaches out to touch that. And you are the object. Just keep your eyes closed, and I'm going to sing you a song that's written from that perspective. I wrote this when I was thinking about this idea that God's thinking of me, and maybe I should say something about that, or say something to Him. But then maybe I think, maybe I should keep quiet for a moment. Yeah, and listen to what He might say to me. And maybe He would say something like this. I want you to know that I'll always be your friend, for I know what it means to be alone. If you want, I can show that I really do intend to take care of this seed that I have sown. Love is everywhere, can you feel it? Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere, can you feel it? Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere, can you feel it? Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere. Everywhere. Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere. If you learn to see true, the sunlight and the dew will always appear as something new. I am right before you, but you're always looking through to this world where I'm hidden from your view. Love is everywhere, can you feel it? Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere, can you feel it? Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere, can you feel it? Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere. Everywhere. Just keep your eyes closed for a moment. And just remember that you're being thought of all the time as though two eyes were watching you, watching over you, always wanting to take care of you. And there's this rain of love pouring down on you all the time. And all you have to do is lower that umbrella of ego, and you can feel it. Just take a deep breath, and when you feel like you want to, you can open your eyes. I'd like to know if any of you had any thoughts about that or reflections about that idea of being the object rather than the subject, rather than me thinking, I'm thinking of God, thinking God's thinking of me. Any thoughts or reflections on that? How did it feel different than what you usually do when you sit for meditation? That sounds great. You got it. Yeah, I knew you would. Of course, we talked last night. Yes. Anybody else? Uh-huh. Do you know why? Okay, that's a big clue, right? Paying attention. We have wisdom in every heart here. Yeah, tell me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is a... Great. Yeah, so much of being able to have a kind of a close connection with God is about self-acceptance, right? Because if we feel we're not worthy or there's something wrong with me or something like that, then that creates a barrier. But if we can let go and think, well, look, you know, it's impossible for God to hate me because He created me. I'm His child. It doesn't work like that, you know. It's not a problem. And you let go, and then you feel calm, and you feel this natural flow of love. It's there already. So that's what the umbrella thing does, right? If you can take away the barrier, then you see what's already there. I like rain too, yes. There's a lot of spiritual songs with using the rain metaphor. I've just written a new one about rain. I'm not going to sing it now, but any other thoughts on that before? Yeah, what we got now? It's all popping up. The popcorn's heated. Okay. Ah. Mhm. That's lovely. Thank you. You were going to say something. Uh-huh. Tell me. Hmm? You're being chased. In the best sense of the word. This big divine lover is after you, you know. Very nice. You want to say something? Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. I have a friend she said that sometimes she feels like when she's in meditation, God is like this big comfortable armchair that she sits down and she feels completely held, and just totally everything's okay, it's like completely relaxed. It's interesting. Okay, that's great. All these things help. It's interesting what you said about responsibility. I teach creativity. That's one of my main interests, actually, because I'm into writing and music, and the connection between that and meditation, because meditation can be a very powerful way of connecting to the source of creativity. And one of the things that blocks creativity more than almost anything is responsibility. The feeling of responsibility. It's kind of almost the opposite. Picasso used to talk about, of course, he's a pretty remarkable exponent of the creative spirit. So he used to say that, everybody is creative because all children are creative, and we've all been children, right? So the difficult part is being a child again, right? So what prevents us from getting that sort of childlike, natural kind of joy and appreciation of things that children sometimes have, it often is this sense of responsibility. I got to take care of stuff. It's up to me, and it's kind of the opposite kind of thinking. So we need those moments when we're really free of that. It's a burden, sometimes it's good. Of course, it's good to feel responsible, to be responsible at times. But if you're feeling that as a burden all the time, it blocks this natural kind of flow of both creativity and just the feeling of being loved. So that's great. Anyone want to say something before we go on? No? Okay. So, if I ask you, or if anybody asks you, I probably won't ask you because I'm going somewhere else later this evening, but if somebody were to ask you tomorrow, can you tell me what the secret of meditation is? What are you going to tell them? I want to make sure you remember. Pardon? That's part of it, but it's very much about this change in perspective. That does embody it, but just really, you need to be very specific and feel like I'm the object of his attention. So he's thinking of me. I'll tell you one story that is often used to really encapsulate this. Who's heard of Ramakrishna? Lots of you. Okay, so Sri Ramakrishna was a great saint, lived in India in the 19th century. And he's well known because his disciple, his kind of most outstanding disciple, you can say, was Vivekananda, Swami Vivekananda. And he was the first yogi to come to this part of the world, ever. And he came here and spoke at a very important conference in 1903, I think. Or 1893, I always get that wrong. Thank you. Yeah, in Chicago. It was an ecumenical conference of world religions, and he spoke there and made a huge impression. And he kind of brought this kind of tradition, the yoga, devotional and meditative tradition, to the West for the first time. So there's a story about him when he was much younger, when he was with his guru before Ramakrishna passed away. I believe he passed away in 1890, so that was just a little before. So Vivekananda was there. He was the disciple. And one morning, Ramakrishna said to him, I want you to do a very important exercise today. You have to go out, he gave him a chicken, a live chicken. He said, take this chicken and go out into the forest and kill it. But you have to go somewhere where nobody's watching. Nobody should see you. Kill the chicken and come back. And Vivekananda's kind of shocked because they're yogis. They're supposed to be, nice to chickens. They're not supposed. They're vegetarians. They're not supposed to harm anybody. They follow this principle of ahimsa. It's called not harming. But the guru told him to do it, so he thought, okay. He took the chicken. He went into the forest, and the whole day passed, and the other disciples are wondering what happened to this guy. He didn't come back, And finally, it's beginning to get dark, and he comes back, and he's still got the chicken. The chicken's fine. So Ramakrishna said, well, what happened? I told you to kill the chicken. You didn't kill the chicken. Why not? And Vivekananda said, well, Guruji, I tried. I tried. I went somewhere, and I was going to kill the chicken, and you told me that I should go somewhere where nobody's watching. And I was thinking of killing the chicken, and then I sensed these two eyes watching me. And I thought, oh no, you know. So then I went somewhere else, somewhere really, like I thought nobody's going to be there. And I think getting ready to kill the chicken, and then I felt these two eyes. And everywhere I went, no matter how remote and how hidden, I always felt that I was being observed. And Ramakrishna said, that's very good. That's exactly what I wanted you to understand. So he was feeling that God was watching him, but he sensed it innately. And Ramakrishna must have known that he was already at this stage. And so he was very happy. And Vivekananda was happy because he didn't get in trouble. And guess who was happiest of all? The chicken. But this feeling that you're always being observed by this divine, benevolent being is really, you can practice that in your meditation, but also out of your meditation. If you can feel that all the time, that can change everything. So that's the secret of meditation. You're always being thought of. You're always being observed by God and thought of, and this rain of love is coming down on you. Okay, you gonna remember that? If I ask you tomorrow, you won't have forgotten and say, "What secret?" Yeah. Sorry, say that again. Yes, okay. Yeah, those poor old turkeys. So I did say I was going to, I might tell you or sing this other song about this Namaskar mudra. Remember that? So how did this go again? So you're using the hands, all right? And you touch the head, this chakra, the Agya chakra, and the heart. It's got three pieces: the hands, and the head, and the heart. This is between me and you. I don't like that, but anyway, it makes it louder. This idea of the hands and the head and the heart. I thought about that for a while, and I realized this could represent the three elements of the path of yoga, which are sometimes called karma, jnana, and bhakti. Who knows what that means? And Vivek's not allowed to answer. He's a teacher. He teaches the same practice as me. He knows all this stuff backwards. And he's local, so you can learn from him. So I'm out of here tonight. But the hands and the head and the heart can represent karma yoga, jnana yoga, and bhakti yoga. So karma yoga means action. A lot of people think it's, something happened to me and that's your bad karma. Actually, it's a complete misuse of the word. It's what they mean to say is that it's the result of your past karma. So the idea of karma is, okay, actions, they create reactions. And those reactions can be stored in our minds, and that accumulates. And in psychology, they call it mental baggage. It's the same thing. So, or emotional baggage. So karma really means action. So karma yoga is the yoga of service. So we use our hands to create things and help people in work and do things. And interestingly, our hands are one of the things that's enabled us to take over the world. Right? We have three qualities. There are three qualities that have enabled human beings to dominate the earth as a species. Have you ever wondered why octopuses don't dominate the earth? Any other octopus fans? I'm crazy about octopuses. Any octopus fans out there? I saw you getting all excited about the octopuses. So you love octopuses?
I love the octopuses. I've got some creative
Okay, so octopuses are pretty cool, right? They're very smart. They're the smartest invertebrate. And they got hands. They're way better. Have you ever seen an octopus playing the piano? I mean, they've got these 8 arms, they're out there. They're really... So they've got a, forget about the opposable thumb, right? But there's a third thing they don't have. And we'll come to that in a second. What's the other species that maybe I got all this from Jacques Cousteau. Anybody ever... I used to watch The Undersea World of Jacques Cousteau when I was a kid. Everyone see that show? God, well, you guys are all like all grandpas like me or whatever. I'm not a grandpa, I'm a monk, but you know, ancient and wise. But I used to watch Jacques Cousteau, and there was one show I remember all those years ago where he talked about octopuses and dolphins and why octopuses don't dominate the earth, and then why dolphins don't dominate the earth. So dolphins, they're super smart, right? Their brains, you know, in proportion to their body, their brain is actually bigger than ours, and we're not quite sure what they're doing with it. Plotting our doom, perhaps. I'm not sure. But so dolphins are super smart, and they're very social. You know, they take care of their young, and they have you know, these tribes, and they really look after one another and build communities. But what are they missing? Right? They don't have opposable flippers. I don't think so. Right? It's not going to work. So they reached you know, a limit to their growth because they were lacking this quality. And octopuses, conversely, are loners. They don't have community. A little bit. They've just discovered some little octopus communities in Australia, but they don't get along very well. And generally they're on their own the whole time. And so human beings, what's enabled us to become this dominant species is, okay, our hands, we're able to, you know, create tools and build things and build civilizations and space rockets and all kinds of stuff, good things and bad things. You know, sort of symphonies and atomic bombs. It's kind of a big contrast. And we also, of course, have intelligence. We have, you know, that's what those two, you know, the octopus and the dolphins share with us. They're all, you know, highly intelligent. So we have that, but we have this third piece, all right? So with the hands, we can do work. With our intelligence, we can hopefully develop wisdom. That's jnana yoga, the yoga of wisdom or knowledge. And the third piece is the yoga of the heart, bhakti yoga, the yoga of love or devotion. And that is what enables us to create community. And that's our secret, this combination of the hands and the head and the heart. That's how come we rose to this position which we are. It's debatable about how wise we are and how much love we have, but this is what we need to develop if we want to create a civilization that can flourish and spread to the stars. And I have a song about that. It's called The Hands and the Head and the Heart. But before I sing it, we're going to do your offering thing. All right? Before everybody goes home. But I'm going to play around on this thing for a minute. Yeah, that's nice. It brings it all back to me. So many times, you know, I'd go to all these different unity churches, and what they used to call Science of God was Center for Spiritual Living and these other New Thought churches, and they would have these really nice prayers, and yeah, pleasant memories. You were facing the wrong way. Well, that, you see, you thought they were all really down, but they all. So who else plays the guitar out there? Guitarists? I'm going to tell you a guitar playing secret. Here's something I discovered by accident. You might find interesting if you haven't discovered it yourself. You know, I use this thing a lot because I can't be bothered changing key, and I'm not good enough anyway. But I accidentally only covered 5 out of 6 strings on the 7th fret, right? And I sort of played a chord. Oh, it sounds kind of nice, you know. And I had a whole new tuning. I've written about 5 songs in this tuning. I'm crazy about it. So there you go. Try that. You can only play in one key. That's all right. I can only play in one key anyway. Well, 2 or 3. So here's this song about the hands and the head and the heart. And I wrote it, oddly enough, for to use in a corporate training sessions. So it doesn't sound very romantic, does it? But I was saying earlier, I teach creativity, I teach meditation and creative thinking, and I live in Silicon Valley, so there's all these companies there, and there's all these people that are super stressed, and you know, all super intelligent but way out of balance, and they have trouble connecting to their hearts and their kind of creative selves, and so I do a lot of work with them, and I wanted a song that I could use to really get across what I'm talking about. Because I can talk to them about the scientific research into mindfulness and all that, but that's the way they think already. I want to take them to another place, right? So this song is just to help them do that, and they seem to like it. It's co-written with my wonderful songwriting buddy Josh Friedman. With my hands I'll build a spaceship in case we run out of room. Like a wizard who helps everybody's dreams come true. With my hands I only wanna do good. Wouldn't you do that if you only could? With my head I'll write a song about saving the world. Every river, every robot, every boy, every girl. Singing wisdom is the one missing link, connecting what I feel to all that I think. When I close my eyes, my heart can open wide. Now I see who I'm meant to be. When I close my eyes, I no longer wonder why. Now I see who I'm meant to be. With my heart I'll turn your sadness into unicorns, and rainbows with more colors, and roses with no thorns. With our hearts we can travel so far. Together we can aim for the stars. When I close my eyes, my heart can open wide. Now I see who I'm meant to be. When I close my eyes, I no longer wonder why. With our hearts we can travel so far. Together we can aim for the stars. When I close my eyes, my heart can open wide. With our hearts we can travel so far. Together we can aim for the stars. So that's what we can do with our divine gifts of our hands and our heads, and most importantly, our hearts. That's pretty much all I wanted to tell you tonight. I think, but I'm happy to take questions or anything like that. or I can lecture you about what you ought to do with your lives if you really insist. I'm good at that. I do it a lot. Maybe I've said enough. I do want to. Yeah. Anything you want to know? I'll tell you something that will help. That might be very useful to you. I tried a few kinds of meditation before I learned this kind of meditation. And I didn't try all the types of meditation in the world because that would take a lifetime, but I tried a few. I was only young, I was 19. And I was doing another kind of meditation, which I liked, and I was doing it twice a day. I was a very obedient student, whatever my teacher told me to do. Not my school teachers, but my meditation teachers, I listened to them. So I was practicing every day, twice a day, very, strictly. And I liked it. But I was still exploring. And I met a monk like myself. And he was Italian. I thought he was wonderful. And he taught me this style of meditation, and it was different. It was much more, it was much more explicitly spiritual. I think that's the way I would describe it. And also there was some kind of magic to it that just wasn't there in whatever else I'd tried. And I remember I thought, wow, this is the Ferrari version of meditation. I like this, And so that really made a big impression on me. And I liked the philosophy behind it, but I was interested in many spiritual philosophies. But it just really taught me that it makes a big difference what technique you use and where it comes from. And so that was my experience. So I'm telling you this for a reason, which is that you are one of the few, Albany is one of the few cities in this country with a local resident teacher who teaches this. And he teaches it for free. He might make you jump through a few hoops to demonstrate that you're serious, but he's sitting right there. My friend Vivek, also known as Bruce McEwen, and he's been, tell us, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit more? Say something, that's going to make them all want to, touch your feet. No. But, you run a meditation group every week, right? Oh, it's the same time? I forgot that. Yeah, that would be nice. I'll teach you a new tune. So you've got two tunes that you've been singing, and the other one is called the Bird Kirtan. Who remembers that one? Some of you know that? Okay, well, guess what? I co-wrote it with my other songwriting buddy from Norway, and I can't actually play it. I haven't practiced it, so I'm going to play you a different tune. But this is, something new, right? And I think I can tell you where to get a recording of this one. It's a really pretty one if you want to use it with your congregation. Yeah, everybody should read my book. I have a book about meditation. Everyone should. I have this book I wrote about meditation, which a lot of people found very helpful. I wrote it. Part of my motivation was this. If you're teaching something for a long time, you find yourself repeating yourself. Any teachers amongst you? Well, I know these are teachers. Any teachers amongst you? Yeah? Do you find yourself having to say like the same thing again and again? Okay, I got this question again. So this book is, I kind of give it to people so that I don't have to answer all their questions, and then, okay, read this first and then we'll talk, So that's part of my, it's a teaching tool. And it's used as a kind of text by our teachers all around the world. It's in 12 languages, and I'm kind of happy with that. And then that's my sensible book. And then I have a silly book, which is it's a fantasy novel that I wrote about a vegetarian dragon, and it's kind of fun, and that's the other book you know. It has an octopus. In fact, the protagonist is an alien octopus. So that's a comedy. And then there's the music. So we have some recordings of this kirtan and some other songs and stuff you can have a look at. What are we going to sing this tune, right? So this kirtan tune. So what am I going to tell you next? Sit up straight. Sit up straight. We're going to keep... Okay, no, how's this one? I was about to play in the wrong key. Yeah, I love this tune by a friend of mine. Just close your eyes. Bhavanam Kevala, 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 Kevala, Baba Nam Kevala, Baba Nam Kevala, Baba Nam Kevala, Baba Nam Kevala. Just keep your eyes closed for a moment. Just remember the feeling of being observed and thought of and loved by the divine. You are the object of the undivided attention of the Supreme Being. And His love is pouring down on you like rain all the time. Namaskar. Lovely to sing with you all and meditate with you all, and yeah, we should do this more. Thanks so much. If you want to, I've got a website with a whole bunch of interesting things on it. I've got my cards out there. You can grab one of those and take it home and take a look. And I've got about 150 videos about meditation on my YouTube channel and all sorts of stuff. It's all free.
Thanks so much.